Hello, this is Joshua with New Review, coming at you with a review on the Netflix series Sense8, created by the Wachowskis and Michael J. Straczynski. Sense8 follows the journey of 8 individuals in a world where they are suddenly thrust amongst themselves because they can see and experience and utilize the knowledge of 7 other of each other and are exploring a world that they never knew existed. Like I said, Sense8 follows the story of 8 individual characters who are connected as Homo sensorium or sensates, who are able to communicate with each other telepathically and are able to utilize each other's knowledge and actually take control of each other's bodies for set periods of time. Um, by set, I mean until they decide I kind of want to take my body back. And it's a very interesting concept on connection and gender and sexuality because in each of the 3 separate sections, I'll call them the first season, the holiday special, and this second season, there is a group or individual. They're not never individual, always a group sex scene. And half the characters are male, half the characters are female. 2 of the characters are in the LGBT community. The other 4 are um, straight. There's a Korean woman, a Kenyan man, two, three Europeans because Leo is Spanish, but he's also Latino, and of course 2 Americans because it's an American TV show, and it's a very much like we may all view ourselves as separate, but we're all interconnected. And I'm going to do a little bit of a breakdown of the seasons and then kind of go off into what their future is because they were canceled. So the first season, we're just getting to know these characters. We're world building. We only have one other character that we communicate, that our main aide communicate with, who knows this world, and he's kind of in danger. There's one other sensate, but they could learn from, but he's hunting them for an organization that seems very scary at first, and we learn a little bit more about in the second season. Um, and they're each trying to come to grips with what's going on with them, and there are some instant connections between some of our characters. Will and Riley immediately are attracted to each other, as are Kala and Wolfgang. Um, 2 of the sensates have a connection because they're both in the LGBT community, but they also happen to also be in very stable and loving relationships. At least stable by the time we get to them. One of them kind of gets a little rocky, but that's not entirely because of being a sensate, but being a sensate does really help him, Lito, grow. And Lito's, it's a very interesting and loving relationship, and it's very, and a lot of the LGBT community, a lot of the LGBT characters that we see in TV are typically white, typically either gay or lesbian, and it's very nice to see a Latino couple who are gay and a lesbian couple where one of them is transgender, and it's, I think, a very interesting way to look at this community, these communities, many communities under an umbrella of letters. Um, and each one has their own individual arc that is given, I think, in the first season, a very good amount of time. And they don't really like bore us all with a lot of world building as to what sensates are. I sprinkle it in every so often. I don't really explain where it comes from or why it's there. Very effectively, I mean, Jonas, who is the guy that they know that comes in with this prior knowledge because he's been in the Sense8 world for a good portion of his life. He gives a theory, but there's no real substance to it because he doesn't entirely know. And it's a and the first season is a very good way to get us introduced. And by the end, they start to come into and throughout the season, they are in conflict with BPO, or the Biologic Preservation Organization, the evil organization that the evil Sense8 who's hunting them is part of. But they don't really get into a fight with them until Riley is discovered to be sick and then discovered to be a Sense8. And apparently, Iceland is a very big genetic research place for BPO. And so that leaves them to be on the run. And then we meet up again with them in the Christmas special from 2016. So it was a very long span between the two, between the two seasons. And right now they're just trying to pick up the pieces from where they left off, trying to make sure that Wolfgang doesn't get into trouble because at the end of the season he creates a huge imbalance in the criminal underworld in Berlin. Kala is married to a man that she doesn't love. Sun is still in prison. Capheus, the African character, is starting to rebound from the fallout that happened from working for a drug lord. Will and Riley are on the run, and Leto is starting to feel the effects of coming out on his acting career, and also Nomi is also on the run. And in the Christmas special, we experience their birthday parties, which go from like these individual things to this very globalized event, which is a very cool thing, I think, because they're so connected to each other. That having the parties kind of intermingle, very cool. It also led to a massive group sex scene, which again, they're all connected. It's gonna happen sometimes, and it really starts to bring up a lot of the things that happen in the second season. In the second season, they're playing this game of cat and mouse with Whispers, who's the evil Sense8. It's not really explained ever why he's doing what he's doing. It's just that he's doing them. Hopefully, we'll find an explanation out in the future. And so they're playing this game, and they think they're on top at one point, and then Whispers comes back and takes out the potential contact that they could have had in the within BPO. And then there are a lot of side issues that come up. Capheus ends up running for office in Kenya. Sun escapes prison and is fighting to prove her innocence because her brother did some bad things with her and her father's with her father's company, and she took the fall. And now it's just a fallout of that because he also ended up killing their father, and now she wants to kill him, which is understandable. Going forward, it's like very interesting how they still were very much separated except for Will and Riley, and now they're all at the end of the season they're all together because Wolfgang in Berlin got connected with a Sense8 from Naples, and she's very much she's very much an example of the Sense8 community, which we actually start to get more experience with. So within the Sense8 community, there are those who are fighting BPO, those who are fighting for BPO, and those who are hiding. And she's kind of one of those who's hiding and kind of dabbles in working with BPO, but is mostly hiding, as most are. And we meet a few Sense8s here and there. And like I said, most are in the hiding faction. And it's very interesting as to how they all decide their experiences. the Sense8 from Naples wants to create a safe zone for Sense8s in Berlin and wants Wolfgang to become the king, apparently. And that was a very interesting storyline that ended with him being captured. We also meet a Sense8 who was with the BPO in the beginning, uh, and the BPO was trying to help Sense8s, but then somehow it got transitioned to hunting them, and that wasn't really explained. And I really like to see how that goes in the future. And then there was another Sense8 who's just there for the ride, and he's just trying to survive. Um, and it's a very interesting experience that we have with these characters. Now, at the end of the season, since they spring into action to save Wolfgang, which will by extension save themselves, they also captured Jonas, who sold out essentially and is now working with BPO to survive. Probably partially why Whispers is too, but we don't know where the transition happened and why it happened. Um, and we also learned that Angelica and Jonas may have a little bit more of a connection to BPO because during the investigation we find out that Angelica did work with BPO with some of her with some of the individuals from a cluster that she birthed. Um, but we don't really know the full extent as to what happened because that wasn't fully explained to us. And like I said, they capture Jonas, they capture Whispers, and now it seems that they're going to war. And that's how the second season ended. And then it got canceled. Apparently, there wasn't very good. It wasn't a very good ratings show, and from what I'd read, they had already been planning to do just 3 seasons. But this cancellation now means there's no third season. But the Wachowskis and Straczynski are going to give us a 2-hour series finale movie. So we'll probably have the questions about BPO and Whispers and Angelica answered. Um, I'm kind of sad because it was one of my favorite shows, but I get it, and hopefully we'll have a very satisfactory end to this great series. The series is on Netflix. All the episodes and the special. You guys should check it out if you have Netflix, and if you don't, you should get Netflix and check it out. This is Joshua Zeller with New Review signing off.